Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of 10 for the Chairman. For those of you who don't know, this is where I take 10 questions from subscribers. Subscribers are the subset of our community that contribute money every month to allow us to do a higher level of community content. So this show, Around the Verse, the Jump Point magazine that we do every month, it's 50 to 70 pages. The sort of inside CryEngine pieces that we do, sort of video pieces showing kind of like behind the scenes development stuff and various other things that we managed to get out there and trickle to everybody in the community. So thank you guys. Slight apology for today's episode is because we're actually shooting it on the day that it is going to be broadcast. We had CitizenCon this past Friday, which was an amazing event. It was hopefully most of you guys out there got to see it in some form or fashion, either via the live stream or were there actually in the event. It was really nice to sit there and mingle with a whole bunch of people that have backed the game to make it happen. And anyway, myself and the team just really enjoyed sitting there and talking to everyone that really is so excited about the game we're making, because we're excited about it too. So it was fun, but because we were so busy last week, I normally shoot 10 for the Chairman on a Friday or a Thursday, and then it's all ready to go on Monday. But we were so busy getting everything together for the show, I didn't get a chance to do that. So I was going to shoot it this morning, but Monday morning is all full of meetings. So we're shooting this around about midday, and then it's going to be edited. So you'll probably get it a little later on today. So apology for being slightly late. So just a couple of things. I guess we had, it was fun. We had the little Star Citizen, so everyone was there, got a cool little, what do we get here? We got the sort of card and little note pad setup that we've had. I think we've had that on the website. And I believe there is actually a Star Citizen shot glass. So look what that was like. Oh yeah, look at that. Star Citizen shot glass. Always good for a good drink. And we also it was kind of nice, we printed the actual 890 brochure for everyone that was there, because we have a different format. So on a brochure you can actually do things like these middle page spreads, which is just sort of, there is something nice about the old print format, but obviously we're in the digital world, so our online brochure is formatted differently, because obviously that's not a really good format for digital, but obviously if brochure format is quite nice. But yeah, it's kind of nice to have these, so everyone got to take home one of their personal ones of these. And I think the team and the behavior and in Austin that put this together did a really great job. So it's fun. And then also we had fans, community members stopping by on Thursday and Friday, which was always nice to say hi and meet people. So a couple, this was kind of nice, got a card from Chris and Lacey Reed. Chris Reed, actually, who some of you probably know, but him and Ben and I think one other person, name is escaping me, I'm so sorry about that, started Wing Commander News many, many years ago, and they got married this year in June in the Museum of Flight up in Seattle, and had signed a tiger's claw and dedicated it to them. So they sent me this, dropped it by in person to say thank you, but that's a pretty damn cool place to get married. And then Shego came by and gave me a cool little metal Star Wars TIE fighter to build, which I will be doing as soon as I can. And then Wolf dropped by and dropped off, I guess to prove that he is so crazy about Star Citizen that he even has his license plates be Star Citizen. So he's got Star Citizen and Aegeus. I'm hoping he can still drive his car back in Wisconsin, and these are just duplicate plates, but that's pretty damn cool to have Star Citizen there and Aegeus. But it was nice to see Wolf, and he got me a drink or two at the event, and it was nice to see there was a huge amount of people there from not just around the area, but people that had flown in from Europe. There was a couple of people from Norway, and it was so anyway, it's really kind of humbling and really nice to sort of, just hang out and, feel everyone's excitement and tell them about what you're excited about, and it was great. So had a great time. So with all that, a little nostalgia, but it was fun on Friday. Let me get to the questions. First question comes from Magus. I believe that's probably the way to pronounce it. It's spelled M-A-G-G-U-S. With the release of the new development pipeline for ships, does CryEngine have a ship balancing pipeline? how do you see ship balancing going forward? So the answer is yes, the balancing of the ships is part of the pipeline, and we're also putting processes in place. So like, one of the checklists for the QA department, who obviously do the most playing of all this stuff, is that we also have a sort of a balancing pass now that's part of the sign-off of our sort of big releases, so that we can say, okay, well, this is how the Hornet compares to the Aurora, compares to the 300i, and have that sort of part of an instituted process, because there's so many things going on, and we've actually had this in a couple of cases where someone changes something down there in some other area and it actually has an effect on a ship that we didn't even know it would, but we don't really catch it because everyone was focusing on like just testing other areas of the game. So we're trying to make sure that side is sort of has checklisted, and then we're also specifically having a focus internally on sort of the design and technical design to do that. So I don't know whether that's going to be full in for 13.2 because there's a lot of stuff to be done, but going forward, definitely for release 1.0 of Arena Commander, that'll be there. And it's something we're focusing on because the balancing is obviously something that's really important, and it's the opportunity we get right now with Arena Commander, because the beauty of it is we have these builds out there, and you guys give us feedback, and yes, sometimes things get broken and sometimes things aren't as much fun or whatever, but that's the whole point of sort of honing in on like what will be the best balance of the different comparison between the ships, because of course every ship can't be equal. I mean, we've got a huge universe out there, and there's going to be a lot of progression, and plus there's going to be different sizes of the ships. So yes, the Aurora shouldn't be able to go same pilot one-on-one. A Hornet should beat an Aurora, but a better pilot in a Aurora than a sort of bad pilot in a Hornet, the Aurora should win, right? So we sort of need to balance these things and keep on top of that as we add new systems and features in, and so it just requires a lot of process to get that. So that's definitely something we are focusing on, but I really do believe by the time the game actually is done, not that we'll ever be done, but is in a sort of state where the base features are all there and everyone can play and go around the universe, it will actually be a really good experience. I mean, we'll certainly have gotten a lot of the network and connection kinks and graphical issues and performance issues and all that out of the way, and the balancing issues. So I think you're all helping make a much better polished game. It's one of the reasons why I'm pretty confident that it will be a really good game, because I think the overall promise of it, the overall concept, the base gameplay mechanics of traveling between worlds and performing missions or buying and selling goods and upgrading your ship, we all know have worked because we've loved that from Privateer and even the very early days of Elite a long time ago, and Freelancer and all this kind of stuff. So what we're adding to it is this sort of level of polish and immersion and detail and all these extra things you always wished or dreamed you could do that you couldn't do in the past, and now we have sort of the ability to do it, and thanks to you guys we have the resources to do it. So all the balancing feedback that goes on is really useful. There you go. Next question comes from Beer for the Beer God, who is back asking questions again. So we missed you and now you're back. What role will fuel play in the persistent universe, particularly in the lawless regions? Will access to fuel be something organizations fight over in order to reach the most remote and valuable reaches of space? So on the fuel side, definitely the plan is fuel in terms of sort of boost, in terms of your maneuvering jets. That is a finite thing that you have to either stock up, or you could get a scoop and go into a gas giant and process into sort of fuel. Haven't 100% decided whether there is another level of just general propellant fuel for your normal engines, and if you don't have that, then perhaps you can just drift at 10% of your 5% of your top velocity, and that would just be based on I don't know, small hydrogen atoms you can pick up that are very sparsely spread around space or something like that. But the idea would really be that there should be some resource management in terms of fuel. So there definitely will be on sort of the overdrive, like whatever you want to call it, the nitrous that we currently use for boost, which I think is a good gameplay mechanic, because you want to make sure that you sort of manage that in your dogfight and don't blow through it all. But there may also be sort of general overall fuel tanks for sort of jumps, so you have to have a certain amount of fuel to run your jump engine, and if you don't, you'd have to go and collect it or harvest it from a gas giant, and generally traveling at warp speeds or normal speeds. And then if you were out of all the fuel, I don't think we would have you run completely out of gas, but you would probably inch along, or maybe have to do a distress call or something like that. But that's currently where our thoughts are on that. But we haven't refined anything really beyond the base concept of the boost fuel. I mean, we can have multiple styles of fuel. That's the whole pipe system we have, because we can determine any kind of resource and have it go between any kind of pipe and have tanks to hold it. So the system already supports all that. So it's just whether we want to bifurcate sort of the boost fuel from the general sort of engine fuel, and do you want to have a warp drive fuel versus a normal engine fuel. So we haven't fully decided that, but that's all stuff that we're working on and would be part of like what we think is fun and challenging when you're flying around, and what would give good resource management. And you should have advantages, right? You have a big exploration ship, drop tanks, and then you should be able to go further. So it probably will factor in. Okay, next question comes from Mahat Bor, who asks, with the 890 being released, can you talk a bit about how luxury touring cruise will work? What's being done to make it feel different from cargo shipping? Well, I think the biggest difference on the 890 is there's a focus on sort of communal areas and being able to fly around with other players and not necessarily have to be performing a role. So you could just sort of hang out. I mean, I'm actually kind of big on the idea of providing sort of a virtual space or area, whether it's in your hangar or on, say, a big ship like the 890, where you can wander around and you can go from a destination, because you're not going to be able to just instantly transport to a different planet. You're going to have to travel there. And so I actually long-term like the idea of even having like passenger ships, and okay, I've got to go pick up my ship and it's on Terra, but I'm on Earth, and you don't have a ship to fly there or don't want to fly there. Perhaps you board a passenger ship and take that journey, or perhaps some other player takes that mission on to take you to another place, and you play as a passenger. I mean, I just think there's so much more possibility and depth with us having all these various different roles you could do, and that's kind of what I thought the 890 would be fun for, is sort of like a ship for you and your friends, maybe your organization, and I don't know. So I don't know. It can be the pimped out version of the organization headship if you don't have, I don't know, a destroyer or a Idris frigate, and it's definitely cruising in style. And we definitely want to have some stuff where like it can be about sightseeing or pulling up in your big yacht and watching a Murray Cup race. For me personally, I like the idea of sort of doing different roles, different things that simulate various aspects that you actually would see in real life, and you get to live a bit of the fantasy, because who wouldn't want to be Paul Allen or Larry Ellison pulling up in their massive yachts to the harbor of Monaco, watching the Monaco Grand Prix. It's pretty cool. So that's kind of the idea. I mean, of course, the 890 will do other things. It will be able to carry some cargo if you want. You can ship around your M50 or your X85 or another ship down in that hold. It's pretty well armed, so you can certainly defend yourself. So anyway, there you are. I don't know if that fully answered the question on the 890, but that's kind of where our thoughts are on that. Sid Vicious, with 2 Ds in Sid, asks, we have seen companies that specialize in making starships, ground rovers and hangars, but will there be retro companies that specialize in vintage vehicles like prop planes and sports cars? Yeah, I think we have. I may be incorrect, but I'm pretty sure we have a company that makes models for your hangar. I think it's Takensku or whatever. I forget the name of it. Yeah, we're definitely. We have a huge corporation list. I mean, it's probably we haven't probably fully shared it with you guys, but internally on our we have what's a piece of software called Confluence, which is sort of a I don't know, a business or an enterprise version of a wiki, and we use it. We have all our sort of, what's where we put our sort of in-universe fiction, development stuff, design documents, technical design documents, and so we have a whole section on the various companies that are throughout the United Empire of Earth universe. So we've spec'd out loads of them, much more than you guys have seen, and we also have a team of, we actually have 2 graphics artists that their job is literally to come up with the logos and designs for all these companies, very much like you would on a movie. And they are actually movie graphics design guys. And it's fun because that's part of building out the universe. I mean, that's one of the biggest things that I really love about Star Citizen, is that it's a universe that is, it's going to be real. I mean, we're fleshing out every little detail. I mean, I can't say enough good things about the work that David Haddock and Will and also David Lederman and Ben Lesnick do on building out a universe. So, and it's Will Westerbaum, by the way, who's our secondary writer. So Dave and Will are the 2 writers. So, because we also have William Lewis as a moderator, so just not to get confused there. But yeah, we're really fleshing out a huge universe, and it's fun. I mean, it's universe crafting. So having companies that specialize in various stuff, we'll always sort of have in fiction ones. So I don't know if we have vintage vehicles like prop planes and sports cars, but perhaps. I mean, maybe it's the same company that's doing the models that you would have of the Constellation, the Idris sitting in your hangar. Okay, next question comes from Ram, who asks, if my multi-crew ship is facing destruction during a combat, will I and my mates have to guess when to abandon ships, or will there be a doom sequence, i.e. a series of minor explosions or AI alarm that will give us enough time to reach the escape pods? Well, so definitely there's going to be the sort of alarm, critical hull failure, hull at 10% or whatever we decide that is, that you'll have, so the red lights will go on and flash on sort of the bigger ships, which will probably be a pretty good cue to get to the escape pods. And we're also kind of thinking, we were designing it for like Squadron 42, like on some of the bigger ships, we'll have sort of sequence destruction. So if, I don't know, your reactor's going to go up and it starts to go up, and then there's explosions all along the length of it. So we're going to have that, although I don't know once it gets to that level, you'd have to probably be pretty quick to get into the escape pod and escape. But you probably could if you were close enough and do the right thing. So I think that there'll definitely be a in-ship warning to abandon ship, and then we'll definitely have destruction sequences where it doesn't all just, the whole thing instantly blows up. It sort of blows up in bits and breaks apart. All right, next question comes from Midnight, spelled M-I-D-N-I-T-E, who asks, are there any plans for missions that require luxury spaceships like the Phoenix or the 890 jump? Well, I think so. I think there'll definitely be some missions where you would be asked to, would you be able to ferry a VIP from one location to another location? Someone wants to, rent a yacht to, cruise this area of space. So they definitely will be used for certain kinds of missions that would require a certain kind of ship. Just like here in the real world. I mean, some, certain VIP, the President of the United States is not flying on a turboprop. He's flying on Air Force One. Just like a billionaire isn't going to be, he generally doesn't fly commercial, he flies private, and so maybe he would be chartering his own 890 to get him from somewhere to there. So I think there'll definitely be missions that would be like that. That would probably pay higher, but then there would be some risk because maybe if someone's well off or a trading magnet, then that would be a magnet for pirates that would may want to kidnap him or ransom that person. So yes, there are going to be missions for luxury spaceships. Next question comes from Drum, who asks, will someone be able to steal a Mobiglass during the boarding or FPS activities? And if so, will there be a means to ensure the Mobiglass will maintain a secured backup of the current data within it? So I think what we're just going to do, the Mobiglass is probably going to be bound to your biosignature, and so you won't be able to specifically steal it and then wear it and see all his stuff. But what would happen is if someone takes it from you, you don't have the Mobiglass on you, then you're essentially going to not have any of the access to that sort of functions and interface until you got another Mobiglass, and then it probably would sync back up with your biorhythm and download from the cloud, which I'm sure we have some version of in the future, since we have it now, and that all happens right now if my iPhone gets stolen, and I can just turn it right off and have it all redone. So it would be very much, I would say, like a modern PDA. So what you would be deprived of is the functionality until you got a replacement. Jasper asks, my org has plans for multi-ship expeditions. Will there be a way for individual members to shuttle between ships in the fleet without landing planetside? Yes, there definitely will be. I mean, some of the bigger ships are all built with docking collars on, and you know, the bigger ones than that have their own landing bays, and we definitely have fleet tenders that can go between ships. The plan is certain sizes of ships will be able to pull up next to each other with the docking bays, and even if they don't have fitting docking bays or they're not set up to do that, then you should be able to leave your ship and EVA over to the other one, enter an airlock, and be inside the other one. So you definitely will be able to transfer between ships in flight. Alpha 17 asks, how does the hospital ship and the ambulance tie into the death of a spaceman mechanic? Will the hospital ship be used as a mobile respawn point? So yes, that is the intent. So the intention with the hospital ship is sort of to have the functionality that you would get on a hospital down on a planet side, which is essentially where you would sort of respawn, or you would go to fix up critical injuries, be able to be mobile and be able to sort of be maybe in a system that there wouldn't normally be a planet that has that. The ambulance is sort of the idea, which is, you know, what we've got with the rescue on the Cutlass Red. The idea is that, you know, that's a place where, you know, you could go and pick someone up that's, I don't know, badly injured or in space in a way that, you know, maybe they would lose a life per the death of a spaceman mechanic. But if you get him in the ambulance, get him on the bed, fix him up, patch him up, you can sort of save that life. Because the idea is that every one of your sort of characters only has so many lives before the body totally gives out, and then you got to move on to the next of kin, or the, you know, the designated successor. So the you know, Cutlass Red, the ambulance basically, and the hospital ship are both ways of sort of enhancing or increasing your survivability and making it that you won't lose a life. So they'll fix you up, or, you know, it can be a sort of a respawn point, so to speak. All right, last question comes from Mr. J. Could you explain character customization? I know there will be many that would like to know if we have near infinite options or if we are going to be limited to a present amount. Well, I would say that we pretty much would have, I mean, our options would be very similar to what you would have in a traditional MMO with a lot of customization. So we are definitely looking at changing the face up, you know, having a combination of morph targets and different sort of like chins and noses and eyes and foreheads and all that kind of stuff. You know, we've been debating about how we can do a technique that can sort of prevent people from making like you know, obviously non-realistic looking people. But in general, I think it's going to be in line with a lot of stuff that you would see in other sort of MMOs, although we're hoping to try and do it in a more sort of in-fiction way that sort of keeps you in the world. And then, of course, you can, you know, put all sorts of manner of different clothes on, so that's a huge amount of customization in terms of just the clothes you wear, or the armor you're wearing, or the spacesuit you're wearing, various different sort of, you know, eyewear, because, you know, we're going to go with sort of the augmented reality, so you can have sort of like the equivalent of Google Glass, or even a contact lens, or sort of a monocle, you know, different hats, helmets, all the rest of stuff. So I think there's you know, you'll be able to be pretty customizable. You know, we're even considering putting sort of potentially allowing you to do some level of tattoos, although that's still not 100% be decided. But I would say that you know, I don't know whether you want to say near infinite, but definitely as many options as you would get on you know, a traditional MMO. And we're going to allow you to do some of the similar stuff, obviously, for your ships, which is going to be pretty cool. Okay, so that's the end. That's the 10 questions. Sorry for a late show today. Thank you very, very much. I mean, you know, I should say that, you know, we've hit 58 million as of very early this morning, which is absolutely mind-blowing. So thank you all for all of that. Like I said, CitizenCon was a blast. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream or the show. If you haven't, we'll be posting up a sort of cleaner, better stream later on today. So check it out. The planet-side landing sort of prototype that we showed. You know, I think a lot of people liked. I saw some really good pickup in the press. The team in Austin and the team in Behavior crunched really hard to do that, and we really sort of wanted to show you sort of the scale, the ambition of what we wanted to look and feel like, and that is something that we are planning to be able to do, on many planets. I mean, not everything is going to be a huge sort of industrial metropolis, but you're definitely going to sort of feel the location as you come down, and it's going to be to that level of fidelity when you're walking around it. So we're really excited as all that starts to get fleshed out. Just on and by the way, it's not going to be static as much as it was in that demo, because the AI is very early stages, and going forward, it's going to have people going about their day-night cycles. It'll feel like a sort of living environment, and it's going to reflect that environment's position inside the economy itself. So if the city or the outpost or whatever it is on the up, it's going to be bustling. There'll be people. There'll be things getting built. If it's sort of on its way down, there'll be graffiti. People will be sort of there'll be some crime responding. I think it's just going to feel. The whole idea is to make this universe sort of feel real and alive, not that you sort of just fly around an empty space and then you sort of interact with the locations that you're landing or trading with via a menu screen, and it all sort of feels not as tactile. So the idea is to sort of make it be this visual, living, breathing world. It takes a lot of work to get that done, so we wouldn't be able to do it this fidelity without your support. So thank you so much. But we're totally excited to get all that fleshed out and get everyone venturing it around. I mean, it's going to take some time, but I think you guys can sort of see what our ambition is, and as things go forward, we're going to be sharing more and more of that. We have a pretty huge team now working on this, and so you will be seeing sort of more results as time goes on, because it just took time to scale up. But I'm really excited of the future. So thank you all, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye. Hey guys, thanks for watching 10 for the Chairman. If you guys would like to see more episodes, go here. If you guys would like to subscribe to our YouTube channel and always keep up to date with all our video content, go here. And if you guys would like to watch episodes around the verse, go here please. And I will see you in the verse.